Hello friends, I'm Atul Dahale and welcome to my YouTube channel. From today, we are going to start a new series of videos that is related to the best games of the past masters. And the first master which I have selected is none other than the American legend Paul Morphy. Paul Morphy was born in a very distinguished family in 1937. In his family, everybody used to play chess. His grandfather, father, uncle, brother, almost everyone. And his uncle, Ernest Morphy, was the best player in the town. Well, he learned chess at the age of 10 and progressed quite quickly because of his great memory and the love of chess. And after some years, he was among the best players in the town, in the region, and everybody was very much like in awe, like how can he play like that. Well, he was not like the previous masters, or you can say the previous era players who were always related to the sacrificing some piece and something like that, and all those sacrifice were a little bit unsound. But Morphy was little bit different. He knew that he needs to develop his pieces as quickly as possible. He needs to plan, he needs to gather his pieces towards the center of the board. So you can say that Paul Morphy devised a system which helped modern players till now to play in a better way. He was the first, he was the pioneer of all the strategies and the plans which we know now. So without further delay, let's start with his first game which I have selected, which was played in 1857 between Paulson and Paul Morphy. And the game started with e4, then black played e5, after e5 knight to the f3, then knight to the c6, then knight to the c3, and knight to the f6. We can say that all the four knights are developed in this position. So four knights opening, you can say. Then white played bishop to the b5. Here Morphy, who was black, played bishop to the c5. Well, here other options are also there. Instead of bishop c5, you can even play bishop to the b4 in the position, and that is also possible in this position. Well, after this, white just simply castled in this position, because that is also one of the basic opening principle, that you should develop your pieces and you should castle so that your king should be safe. And black played castles in this position, and here white played a nice move. Well, castling is played, and you might see that the pawn on e5 is little bit weak. Instead of castling, black could have played d6 to support the pawn on e5, but white can play d4 in this position, and after e into d4, maybe knight into d4, bishop to the d7, white might play knight to the f5, and he will be eyeing towards this g7 square. Even if castling is done, still the g7 square will be under attack, and Morphy was not in any mood to go for that variation. He decided to even sacrifice a pawn in the center for the development advantage. So he played castles, and his opponent took the pawn on e5. Well, here you can play knight into e5, but white will get back the pawn with d4, and after bishop to the d6, let's suppose he might play this move, and white has a nice move, that is f4, and the knight will be lost, plus white will be having great center control. So that is also in white's favor. So he did not wanted to go for those things. He played a simple but a developing move, rook to the e8. Just see that Morphy is all the time bringing new pieces in the game. Okay, that was his specialty. Then white played knight into c6, capturing the knight because the knight on e5 was hanging. But still, in this position, the best move for white was not to go for the exchanges and just go back with knight to the f3, just waiting in this position, because now if black plays knight into e4, he can play d4 and attack the bishop on c5, plus he is controlling the center with the pawn. So this is a good strategy. Whenever you can control the center with your pawn, you should do it. And here black can play knight into c3, b into c3, the bishop might go back, and here again you can play d5, attacking the knight, and after these exchanges we can play bishop to the f4, and you can say that white's pieces are also harmoniously developed. Here bishop can come back to the d3 square, putting some pressure on this h7 square, and the game will go on. But white's position is much more better, you can say, not better, but it's much more open, whereas black's position is little bit cramped, his pieces are not yet developed. So this is something white can go for. So he should have played knight f3, but black is not worse in that position. He played knight into c6 in the game, and Morphy played d into c6, attacking the bishop on d5. So bishop went to the c4 square, and now Morphy played a nice move. He played b5 in this position. Well, you can see that in this position that instead of b5, black had the option of playing knight into e4. But knight into e4 is not a good option. Even though you are getting one pawn here, you can see like that, but there is a trap that white can play knight into e4, and after rook into e4, white has a nice move, that is bishop into f7 check, and he will lose the pawn, because if he captures the bishop, then white has another good move, that is queen to the f3 check, and the rook will be lost because of the skewer. The queen will be attacking two pieces at the same time, and black cannot really save the rook on e4. So this is a bad news for black. Black cannot go for this. This is the reason why he did not capture the pawn on e4 and played b5 in the position, because he understood that this bishop on c4 is very important, because it is attacking on this diagonal, and especially the pawn on f7. So here white played bishop to the e2. Well, if you think that maybe I can put the bishop on b3 and be on the diagonal which was there useful for me, but black will be having one good move, that is bishop to the g4, and here white cannot really play f3 because of this bishop is there on this diagonal and the pawn on f2 is pinned. So he needs to play something like queen to the e1, and then black can play something like knight into e4 first, or maybe first b4, and the next move we will capture the pawn on e4 when the knight might go to the d1 square, and we will capture rook into e4. I will prefer this position from black side at any day. So bishop e3, b3 was not played. He played bishop to the e2, controlling the g4 square, and here Morphy calmly captured on e4, then knight into e4, rook into e4. His opponent understood that he needs to dislodge this rook from this square, so he played bishop to the f3, and instead of going all the way to the back rank, he played rook to the e6, because he wants to keep some options open with rook g6 and attacking white's king. Morphy is very clever, and here in this position, Morphy's opponent should have played d3, just trying to get this bishop out at any cost, but he thought like, why not play d4 with the preparation. But here directly he cannot play d4, because bishop into d4 he will lose the pawn. So he thought like, I can play for the prepare for the d4 with the move c3, and on the next move he will play d4. But Morphy was very quick. He understood that his opponent has created a weakness on d3 square, and if the pawn cannot move to the d4 square, then the bishop on c1 will be blocked. So he takes care of that thing, because the d3 square is weak. He launches queen to the d3, he brings his queen to the d3 square, and now the bishop on c1 will be very sad, because the pawn can no longer be pushed, and the bishop can also not come to the e2 square because rook is there. And so by playing queen to the d3, the position is little bit cramped in this position. So his opponent tries to play b4 and dislodge this bishop from this square, but Morphy simply plays bishop to the b6 in this position. And now as this position is not opening up on this side, white again tries to open up the position on the queen side. He plays a4, he captures b into a4, and now rook into a4 is also one of the options, but he plays queen into a4 in this position. Well, here Morphy played one little bit inaccurate move. He played bishop to the d7, but actually he had the chance to play bishop b7, keeping the bishop on this diagonal, and also one important thing, that controlling the a6 square. Well, controlling the a6 square is very important. I'll show you why. Because in the game he played bishop d7, and here white had the chance to exchange this important queen on the d3 square with queen to the a6, and after this move, well, probably if black captures queen into a6, rook into a6, he will be having a normal position, because now he can even go for bishop to the g4. If rook goes back, then bishop into d7, rook into d7, and white will play d4, and the bishop on b6 will be very sad, because it will not be having any good squares, because it is already cramped by his own pawns. He cannot even go back. So this is the reason why queen a6 should have been stopped. Well, here black might not capture on a6, he might play queen to the f5, but then also white can play d4, and then again the b6 bishop will be little bit blocked. So queen a6 was the good move from his opponent. Well, after bishop to the d7, he did not play queen to the a6, he played rook to the a2, and here Morphy played rook a e8. Just see, he is bringing one piece after another in the game. The rook on a8 was not playing in the game, he brought it in the game. Now it is controlling the e file quite strongly, and here finally his opponent understood that the queen on d3 is a very dangerous piece, so he tried to exchange it with queen to the a6, but he is one move delayed. He is one move back, and Morphy unleashes a queen sacrifice in this position. Well, in the previous position, I will tell you one more thing, that if in this position white plays something random move, okay, let's suppose he plays h3, then black had mate in two moves, that is queen to the f1. If king into f1, then rook to the e1 check and mate. So this is the threat was there, and that was also one of the reason why he played queen to the a6. But he is still not going to survive because Morphy has a great move at his disposal. Can you find out? Well, yes, you can find it out. Morphy played a surprising move, that is queen into f3, and his opponent was shocked. Suddenly white is in trouble. You can understand the consequences or the background of the queen sacrifice is like white's pieces are on the queen side. Okay, he has only one defender, that is the rook on f1, and look at black's pieces. These rooks are there, this bishop is already ready to come, this bishop is also ready to come on this diagonal. The f2 pawn is a weakness, and that's why all black needed was open up the position of white's king. And with this move, queen into f3, he opened it. After g into f3, rook g6 came. That was his plan with rook to the e6. He used to think in a long term. The planning was his forte. Like he played king to the h1. Now black played bishop to the h3. Here rook g1 might be a possibility, but that will lead to a checkmate with rook into g1, king into g1, and rook to the e1. Back rank checkmate cannot be stopped even if queen f1 comes. Rook f1 is a check and mate. And here another try by white might be to play queen to the d3 in this position, but that will also be failing after f5 because this diagonal should be blocked. And after this maybe queen c4 check will come, king to the f8, and here after rook d1, bishop d2 check, king g1, bishop f3 check. And after this, can you spot the check and going back thing? Yes, you can play bishop to the g2 check, king g1, and now discovered check with bishop to the d5 and bishop into c4. He will win back the queen and with the game also. So he played bishop to the h3, and after that rook to the d1 was played in the game, but still this is not going to save white. Morphy played bishop to the g2 check, king g1, and now discovered check with bishop into f3, king f1, again bishop g2, king h3, and discovered check with bishop h3. And after king to the h1, he played bishop into f2. Now bishop g2 is one of the check and mate is threatened. He tried to prevent the checkmate with queen to the f1, but white has already lost too many pawns. You can see on the board he is already 2 pawns down. And after bishop into f1, rook into f1, the rook comes on the 7th rank with rook to the e2, and white is completely hopeless because his rook and the bishop on the queen side are not in the game. They are like on the other planet. So he plays rook to the a1, and here Morphy plays rook h6 with the idea of removing this bishop from this square and the rook into h2 and followed by check and mate. Well, he played d4 in this position, and after bishop to the e3, white actually resigned. While we can see that for the clarification, if bishop into e3 is played, then black will checkmate with check here, and now rook e g2 check and mate. So from this game, the beautiful game which we saw, we can learn that most probably in the opening, center control is important. After that, developing piece on every move, like we need to bring out pieces as quickly as possible. Rapid development of pieces is very, very important. Morphy has showed in this game. Another thing which he has showed from this game is like whenever the right movement comes, you should be ready to sacrifice your pieces also, and the right movement comes only through good position, and to get the good position your pieces should be on good squares. So always try to put your pieces on the squares. From there they can exert some pressure on the opponent. Never put the pieces just randomly anywhere. Always have a plan of action in your mind. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and we will meet again with the next video of Morphy in this series. Till then, stay tuned with me. If you are not subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe. Till then, goodbye and take care. Thank you.